This video is going to be on one of my absolute favorite topics with Outlook, the rules. So what rules do is they allow you to decide how to organize your emails to make them easier for you to see when they come into your inbox. Rules allow you to have Outlook do the sorting and moving of your emails automatically based on rules that you have given them. So if there are people that you know that you want to see their emails immediately, you can set a rule to allow you to do that. If you have a meeting that you go to every week, and every week after that meeting, they send out the minutes. And while the minutes are important, you don't need to read them immediately. And they just go into your inbox and create something that you have to sort through. So maybe you want those minutes to automatically go into a folder called meeting minutes. And then you can go look at it when you want to, or if you need to find something from the past, without making you have to sort it or go looking later. Everything will be in that one folder. That's one of the ways in which rules can really help you organize your emails. So one of the first things you need to know, just because a lot of rules involve sorting things into folders, is how to create folders. So we're going to use this account right here. This is the inbox. And so you just right click on the inbox, click on new folder. We're going to give it a name, and this one is just going to be test rules. And I'm going to hit enter on my keyboard. And now I have an empty folder. I'll click on it so you can see there's absolutely nothing in it. And it is test rules, and it's under the inbox. And you can keep adding new folders underneath the inbox. This will be folder 2, enter. And you can left click and hold and drag it above the other one so you can decide which folders you have at the top. Usually you'll want the ones you use the most, or you want to see the information the most, at the top. All right, so we've got a couple of folders. Now let's go ahead and actually start the rules. So where you find the rules is under File, and then down here, Manage Rules and Alerts. And that brings up this window for rules and alerts. What we're looking at right here are existing rules, and right now there aren't any. Now, as we start creating some rules, you will see them start to come into this box. So the first thing we're going to do is create a new rule. And this brings up the Rules Wizard window. And they already have a few templates up here, or you can start from a blank one. We'll do a template first, just because most of the rules that you're going to create are either going to be one of these top two. Move messages from someone, and you're going to say who that someone is. See down here, it says the step 2. This is what's showing up because we have clicked on move messages from someone to a folder. So down here it says apply this rule after a message arrives. So that's when it comes into your inbox. From, and then you click on people or public group, and that is your someone. Okay, people or public group. Once you say who the people or public group are going to be, then it says move it to specified folder. And specified is, again, something you click on and then say which folder it's going to be. And then at the end, this is just standard terminology, standard words that they use. Stop processing more rules. Okay, so that's the moving messages from someone to a folder. The next one, and I'm going to click on this, and you'll see at the bottom that the options that you choose change. So as soon as I clicked on that, down here, it no longer talks about people or groups. It says specific words. So this is now specific words in the subject. And then again, move it to the specified folder. So this one at the top is for people, and this one is for specific words in the subject. And there are more options than that. These are just two very, very common templates that they offer to you. So let's go ahead and do this one up here. So apply this rule after the message arrives from, and you click on that. And this is all of the email addresses in my contacts. Of course, I'm going to have to fuzz all of these out because this is going out on the internet. But this is the name column. Over here we have the display name, and then over here we have all of the actual email addresses. And that is fuzzed out, but I'm just letting you know what it is that was fuzzed so that you know what you are not seeing right now. All right, so you can either choose one of them, or we can just type something in. So down here on this box, I'm just going to create a test@gmail.com, and I'm going to say OK. And you'll see now this says, apply this rule after message arrives from test@gmail.com. And then we're going to say move it to, and click on specified. We can choose the folder that I just created. And if you're looking at it right now, you don't see it. And that's because if you look at this little arrow right here, it's pointing directly to the side. That means it is not expanded. As soon as we click on that little arrow, it expands down. And then the two folders that we created at the beginning of this video are now visible. So we're going to decide which of these folders we want that to go into. And I'm going to put it into test rules, say OK. And now we have apply this rule after the message arrives from test@gmail.com. Move it to the test rules folder. In this particular case, we're done with it. Now you could say next and it will give you a lot more options. We're just going to say finish right now. So finish, and now we have this rule. And so now anytime something comes in from test@gmail.com, it will then move into the test rules folder. And it'll just happen automatically. As soon as you receive an email from that address, boom, instead of going into your inbox, it'll just go straight into that folder. Okay. Now let's open that up again, and you'll see that that is sitting there. I want to show you really quickly, though, something on here. Remember that caret thing that I was talking about, the little arrow? If when you're looking at your inbox, the arrow is pointing this direction and you just see inbox and you don't see the folders underneath it, you may not realize that you have a folder with something in it that you want to look at. So it's always important to be aware of what folders you have created. And if you can't see them, click on those arrows to show all of your items. Now, right now, we don't have an email from them because there's no such thing as test@gmail.com, or at least I don't own it, so I can't send an email from it. But we're going to give you an example in the next one about how those rules work. All right, so now let's go ahead and go back and create the next rule, which is going to be based on entering words in the subject. So back to File, back to Manage Rules and Alerts. We're going to create another new rule. We're going to use the second template. We're going to use the specific words. So specific words, test rules. And you just say add. Now what it's doing is it's looking for these words. If it comes in, and this is specifically the subject, so it does have to be in the subject of the email. If test rules is in the body but not the subject, this rule would not kick in. So it has to be in the subject. And you can add more things. You can also add, we'll just add another word. You can do hello, add that. And now if someone types in the word hello into a subject, this will also trigger it. And you can see it says or. So if the email says test rules or hello, then this rule will kick in. So we'll just say okay. So now we have with test rules or hello in the subject, move it to the specified folder. Let's go ahead and go folder 2 on this one. Say okay. This is all I want to do in this, but I'm going to show you what happens if you click next and some of the additional options you have. So what conditions do you want to check? Step 1, select the conditions. There's a whole bunch of them. And if you pick any of these, they would be added to this rule down here. And you can watch the rule get built as you pick things. This would be if you want to add things like, not only does it have to say test rules or hello, but it also has to be an email that, for example, is already marked as important, or was only sent to me, or my name is in the to box, not the CC box. Usually if you use this particular rule where it's words in the subject, you don't usually go in for extra conditions, but you can, and this is where you would do that. All right, so now we're just going to go ahead and say finish. And now you see that we have our test rules or hello up here and also have our test@gmail.com. So just go ahead and say okay on that one. Now I'm going to show you how to create it from scratch. So go ahead and open that up again. Click on New Rule again. You've already been here multiple times. But now we're going to start from a blank rule. Now you have two choices. Apply rule on messages that I receive. So this is emails that are coming into your inbox. Or you can apply the rule on messages I send. That's if you send a message out to other people. Typically you want this one, but there are times you might want to do that one. But once you know how to do this top version, you'll be able to figure out the bottom. All right, so now we have apply rules on messages I receive, and you can see that that is now down here. Click on next, and now we have the conditions. And there's a whole lot of conditions. Now, Google also has rules, but it doesn't have as many options as Microsoft Office does. So let's see what we want this to be. Let's do a compound one. Compound meaning multiple things get kicked off. So how about we go specific words in the subject and from people or a group. So maybe my boss sends me emails that says urgent occasionally. So I want to see anything that he sends that says this is urgent. So let's go ahead and do public groups. Again, you can't see all of these, but I'll just type in my boss at gmail.com. And with specific words. And I said that he sends emails that say urgent. And usually he does it all capital, add, and maybe sometimes he does not do all capital. Urgent. Okay, so all caps urgent or lowercase urgent. Okay. Now we're going to move on because right now this rule is definitely not complete. The message simply says apply it when it comes in from my boss with the word urgent, but what are you going to do with it? Now, this is where we have that option, and you can pick as many of these as you want. So it's really important. So I'm going to say move it to a specified folder. Now we've already got 2 folders, and if I click on this, you can choose any of these folders that already exist, or we can just create a new one. And right now it's selected inbox, so we're going to create a new one under the inbox, and I'm going to write urgent boss messages. All right, I'm going to say okay. And now you'll see that there is a new folder called urgent boss messages under the inbox. I'm just going to say okay on that because I do want it in the urgent boss messages folder. But I want more than that. I want a desktop alert. That means a window will pop up as soon as an email comes in from him. Okay, so what you now have is you have messages from my boss with urgent in the subject. They're going to be moved to the urgent boss messages folder, and a desktop alert is going to be played. So you just click next. Now this is if there are exceptions. So maybe if my boss sends an email that's urgent, but if I'm not in the to line, then I don't usually have to do anything with it. We would choose except where my name is in the CC box. Then it will not trigger if I am not in the to box. So if I'm in the to box, it'll happen. If I'm in the CC box, it won't happen because this will happen unless my name is in the CC box. So you hit next, and this is giving the rule a name. So this just says my boss, but let's go ahead and just say bosses urgent emails. And then turn on the rule. You can also run it immediately. So if you already have some messages in your inbox that meet this criteria, you can just click this and it will automatically run it and take all of the existing emails, even ones that were sent weeks ago, and put them into a folder called Urgent Boss Emails. And you just say finish. And now we have these 3. So now let's go ahead and test one of them. This is the only one that can really be tested because those other email addresses that I have in the rules don't work. They're fake emails. I don't have the ability to send anything from those email addresses, so I can't test it. But this I can test. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an email in another account, and I'm just going to send the email with the subject of test rules, and I'll show you how that works. All right, so I'm about to send the email. I'm hitting send right now. You'll notice over here, inbox is at 110, urgent boss, test, and folder 2 all have nothing in it. I'm going to hit send receive just because sometimes these things take a little time. And there it is. And you'll notice it did not come into inbox. Inbox is still at 110 messages. Folder 2 now has 1. We're in folder 2. This was the message. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and send another one. This one had hello in the subject. And you'll recall that the rule that had hello also had test rules in the subject. So let's give that one a shot. Okay, just sent it, and you'll see inbox still has 110. Folder 2 still has 1. And there it is. We now have 2 messages in folder 2 because test rules kicks it off, and so does hello. All right, I'm going to show you what happens if one of these 2 sets of words is not in the subject and is only in the body. It's going to go into inbox instead. All right, I've just hit send on the email. So let me go ahead and do the send receive. Notice you have 2 down here and 110 up here. All right, so you'll notice that now we have 111 in the inbox and still only 2 down here. And the only reason there's 2 is because these haven't been read yet. As soon as I click on them and mark them as read, that number goes away because there are no longer 2 unread emails in that folder. But now you'll see that the inbox has 111. So if we click on that and go up to the top, you'll see that I sent another email. And this one, the subject says this didn't have a keyword in the subject. So without having test rules or hello in the subject, and had hello in the body. So there was hello in the body, but if it wasn't in the subject, which it isn't, it was not going to go into that folder because we set it up to just have words in the subject. All right, now what do you do if you want to capture those words with the subject and the body? Well, you come up to File, Manage Rules. We're going to create a new one. This time, we're going to go ahead and do Messages I Receive. Now you could just click on this for specific words in the subject, and then there's one down here, specific words in the body. You could click on both of those and enter the word that you want twice. But look, there's one right below it that says specific words in the subject or body. So you just click on that one. And we want the word wow. I'm going to say add. And we just wanted to go with the word wow. Next. I'm going to show you a different function. So up until now, we've been moving it to a specified folder. I'm going to show you what happens if you want to move a copy to a specified folder. So we're going to click on that one. We're going to go, we'll go ahead and go with urgent boss messages just for the heck of it. Say OK. So what moving it to a specified folder means is that when it comes in, it does not go into the inbox. It only goes to your specified folder. Move a copy to the specified folder means that it's going to go into your inbox. You're going to have it there, but it is also going to put a copy in that folder. So you're going to have 2 copies of the same email. One is in the inbox and one is in your special folder. So that's entirely personal preference. I usually just move things because I don't want more emails to deal with. You know, if I know that it's in a certain folder, I don't want to see it in the normal inbox, but some people might. So that just gives you the difference between moving it and moving a copy. All right, so we're going to go ahead and finish that one. Say OK. Back to email. And I'm going to go ahead and send that. And I want you to watch once again with inbox has 110. And these folders down here each have nothing. And remember, it's going to go into this one. And there you go. Inbox itself went up 111. And urgent boss messages has 1. So let's go ahead. We're in the inbox right now. So up here, we have an email from me. It says email from the boss. So it wasn't the subject that kicked it off because we were looking for the word wow. What we have, however, is in the body, it says wow, so that works. And if you look down here in urgent boss messages, same exact email. They'll have the same time, the same subject, everything is absolutely identical. So now we have two copies of it, one in urgent boss messages and one up here in the inbox. Same exact email. All right, so that was Outlook rules. You can look down through all of the options about what to do when it comes into your inbox, how you want it handled, and you can decide what way is best for you to organize and use your emails. But you'll find that using rules is really helpful.